in the bottom left here. In the blue, he is not up one. He's not up anything. It's the first game of the series for the Shopify Rebellion, the former world champion, BYUN. And in the upper right, in the red, newly returned from the military here. Once the best Protoss player in the world, and man, he's looking better week after week. He is Classic. Okay, so, you know, we've seen a lot of PvZ. We saw 3 games of it. We saw lots of carriers, lots of void rays, lots of other things. But you know what? Luckily, folks, this matchup is not so dominated by the single unit that is not dominated by the single units that that PvZ is. Yeah, hopefully they don't do the Litecoin thing. Although, you know what, Guitar King, the Litecoin thing doesn't look not quite as bad as it kind of looked like at first. Where you're like, oh wow, they picked up a bunch of these StarCraft players for like 2 weeks, and then they decided, oh, it's not worth the investment. We don't want to invest in StarCraft anymore. Well, actually, apparently, it was the same organization was supporting them for like the last year, and eventually, the person that was kind of supporting that lost his job, and you know, so Litecoin took him over, and just was not seeing their ROI, you know, 7 months in. So it's not quite the shady. Oh, we're gonna pick these players up for like half a tournament, and that's gonna be that. Now, Dings, what about... No, if we want to talk about the intersection point of sushi and salad, well, the thing we want to be looking at is... isn't that technically like poke? Isn't like a sushi salad pretty much just poke? I don't know. But what I do know here is the game number 2. BYUN, he's going for a 1-1-1. I kind of expected to see us open up with a 3-back, so kind of surprised to not see that on Oxide of all maps. Again, short rush distance. But let's see, we have one Hellion going in out. Should just be a scouting Hellion here, and behind this, Widowmine drops. Yeah, Widowmine drops are going to be the name of the game. For BYUN, is this Adept is going to find its way on in, but I mean, there's a Hellion, there's Marines. It's not going to get all that much done. Of course, Classic for his part, he's going into Blink behind this, as he does drop a second gateway, so 2-gate expand Blink. I think is what we're going to see Classic go for here. Maybe... Oh, actually, no, he could go 4-gate. If he decides to go for that full wall off. But now the Hellions going to look to dive on in. Sentries, they just kind of tickle. They don't do a whole hell of a lot. And, well, that does mean here the Sentries will go on down. And, well, not Sentries going to go down, but the Hellion dies. And there we go, an additional gateway. So we have 2 in the main base. We've got 2 in the natural... I think. Oh, sorry, that's a robo. Never mind. Okay, so Widowmine actually just ran across the map, and it's going to get a free pro, but that's going to be just about it. Meanwhile, we have a drop here on into the main base. 8 Marines strong. I mean, Stim's not done. That's fine, but certainly can run on in, and hey, he's just going to find a bunch of probes here as they look to run away. 3 workers go down, 4-5, and he's going to get a sentry. 2, not quite. Yeah, he's going to be able to force it out, but Blink is not done, so it's fine there. Meanwhile, Widowmine's going to run on in, and yeah, I loved it. This is just, it's such a fancy move. I kind of want to see it behind the mineral. Like, you got to put it back in the mineral line just because probes tend to be clicked onto, I can't select it, out of these mineral patches. So if you put a Widowmine right there, well, they all cluster on up, and it becomes a significant problem because look, Classic says, look, I know you had a Widowmine here, and I'm going to go look around for it, but he's not going to find it. Okay, so now Stalker's moving out of the map here. So this Raven looking to get harassment done as well. And what do we have at home, though? If you get the Raven, I mean, that does tend to be a lot of gas, so you have less defensive ability. Stim underway just a little bit. It is a 1-tank defense here for BYUN, and this is 3-gate Stalker, so it does have damage potential, even if there is no... oh, it's an unsiege tank, too. I mean, these Stalkers can actually absolutely make something happen. But even if there is no War Prism, these Stalkers can find some value. Meanwhile, the Raven looking to actually just not do anything just yet. BYUN just waiting a little bit, waiting, I guess, for the Stalkers to show themselves. Okay, we do have 2 tanks now, and that should be able to push these Stalkers back. So now Raven's going to move on in, drop 2 auto turrets here immediately. That means, hey, it's a dead sentry. 2 workers go down as well as the drop in the main base. BYUN just trying to out multitask Classic here in this game number 1. And you know what? So far, he's been very successful in that endeavor. 7 workers go down on top of the 5. I think that it went earlier. Yeah, 12 total workers have died. Meanwhile, this medevac is just being annoying. The Raven is taking 0 damage, and these Stalkers they're just forced on home. They're not finding any sort of value. BYUN, it looks like he will take his 3rd base on location. That is going to be a salient point that maybe Classic can look to get aggressive on in. Delay this 3rd base at the very least. Maybe even cancel it. Yeah, no, he will cancel it. Okay. Hey, Dings, I'm just really hoping for a PvP final so we can see the Chelsh maneuver. The hallucinated Colossus to block the creation of a wall so you can shade Adepts on in. Which is, by the way, just the most, I don't know, big brain, small brain, everything brain play that I've ever seen. And the fact that he actually made it work is just incredible. Anyway, 3rd base just about halfway done here for BYUN. And, I mean, his economy maybe not in the best spot, but I mean, he's only up, I'm sorry. Never mind. Yeah, he's even on workers with this opponent, although, Stalkers here with this 3rd base, they will be able to delay it for a little bit longer, but Stim is now done. Combat Shield's done in a second, so, you know what? Actually, this is going to be a bit of a bait here. BYUN's going to be able to target down a lot of Stalkers. Even as he does lose 1 Marauder, he's going to keep the other one alive. And it's not the best trade here if we look at this. 4 Stalkers for not nearly as much. Anyway, 3rd base just about done now, and we're going to see that repaired up once that finishes. And, well, Chargelot Archon is going to be the name of the game here for Classic as he looks to defend. And, Chargelot Archon against a even Army Supply Terran player. Do not wreck. Oh, BYUN's going to run on into it, too. Classic, he's got a really good fight here. 1 medevac goes down immediately, and this army here for BYUN is in a big problem. Rally times be damned, does not matter if the Archons, the Chargelots are getting onto things immediately. Yeah, Widow Mines are nice. But this position here from Classic is going to be absolutely fantastic. And now, well, he's going to be forced to blink back a little bit. The Archon may go down. But there we go. It was a good fight, but at the end of the day, it feels like Classic may be overcommitted just slightly. Yeah, Asfari, I do. I actually use Salad a decent amount. I have it running every night. And in doing so, I made like $30 the last week. I mean, granted, I have a 3090, so your miles may vary. You're not going to make $5 a night like I have. But yeah, no, I use it every night. It's open source too. If you want to take a look at the code, they're pretty reputable. And honestly, the thing that's exciting about them is it's HPC stuff at the end of the day, genome sequencing or whatever. The Bitcoin, the Ethereum mining is just to establish an economic baseline to keep people going, to build the user base. So now the Zealots, they're going to be able to find a decent trade here, but BYUN's going to be able to micro his way back on into a choke. And that fight that Classic was looking for, it's not really there anymore. BYUN's starting to find himself that army supply lead. He's up 2 upgrades. When you're going for an army like this, you need to have at least armor upgrades, right? If not more. But Storm is going to be nice. It will force BYUN back for the time being. Dings, this is well, part of this. I don't know if you saw the interview, the interview sponsored by Sala that Alpha X put out with Classic earlier last week, where he's trying to play the style that he was very comfortable with, Charizard Archon Storm, before he went to the military. So okay, those are going to be really fantastic storms. I can't believe that Storm had range, but you warp on in, and okay, the last of these storms are not going to get much here. And the EMPs are going to blanket this army, but the Storms, have they done enough to make this fight happen? Now, more and more Zealots get warped on in, but I don't think so. BYUN sitting here, tripling the army supply of his opponent. And that is going to be that. Meanwhile, what is this? Oh, Liberator in the main base, knocking down 4 workers as well. Raven's going to find his way out into the natural. We have BYUN with a big army in the front. And unfortunately, that's just not the only thing. He's getting damage done on the sides of the map here as well in the economy here of Classic, which is going to make life so much more difficult. And look, there are no more. Oh, he's going to get the War Prism too with the Widowmine. Nice save on that second Widowmine shot, but still. BYUN looking to rally on in. EMP is on top of the Archons, which means they're dead. GG BYUN. He takes game 1. So now we're in game 2. I don't expect to see the same level of effective aggression from either Classic or BYUN. Well, I guess it was more BYUN in this game, as honestly, it's like, well, it's romanticized. It is so damn hard to kill your opponent on this map. Although, I mean, the big reason why is, of course, is this one ramp that defends 2 bases. And if you're a Terran player and you can just drop around it, does that really matter? Actually, the decent amount of dead airspace means we might just see this from BYUN anyways. Is well, Probe's going to try to block the command center for a time, but with the 2 probes, 2 SCVs here, it's not going to get that much done. And oh yeah. Classic being a greedy boy on this biggest map, it is going to be Nexus before Core here in this game. And you know what? There's just about no way to be greedier. I mean, I guess you could go Nexus before Gateway, but that sounds like suicide. So Nexus before Core already. Classic just trying to find any advantage that he can. It did feel like he had an opportunity to find damage done in the mid game after we saw that drop in the Raven, because when you commit that hard to a bunch of stuff early on, it means there's not going to be a lot at home there for BYUN. As the Stalkers ran across the map, maybe they were going to get something, but at the end of the day, well, Classic did not have a War Prism, and he did not have the vision. He did not feel comfortable blinking into the high ground, and that allowed BYUN to just keep building and keep getting better trades. But you know what? There we go. We got 2 additional Raxes coming on in. I said, yeah, BYUN, I don't think he's going to do a lot of straight up aggression because it's a big map and, you know, ramps are a thing. I could not have been more wrong. It's going to be 3 racks pressure here from BYUN in this game. This build that, yeah, we're starting to see more Terran players do now, but this is really his thing. And to a lesser extent, Clem in EU, but really this is BYUN's build. This is the build that he does more than anyone else. And, you know, it's super volatile. It works, and it kind of kills the opponent. Or it doesn't work, and it just kind of dies, and then, well, the Protoss player tends to win. Although BYUN is starting to branch out of this a little bit more. We're seeing games where he says, yeah, I don't need to do anything. I'm just going to go and hold off with my 3 racks. I'm going to get it 1-1 after that, and I'm just going to have a bigger army earlier at the expense of a little bit later third base. It's fine. The build that I'm actually a really big fan of, and it's very weird, is the build that has you build 2 barracks instead of 3, but you get a 250 third base behind that. And it's kind of the weird best of both worlds. You get a big push coming on in with stim and combat shields, but you also have a 250 third base. So it's this really interesting kind of greedy macro or aggressive macro play. You're super greedy, but also super aggressive, and they just try to cover for each other. Now these 2 oracles will fly in. Of course, it's not 3 oracle meta, even if 3 oracles do 1-tap SCVs. But there are enough Marines in this position because, as people have been saying in chat, you know, Stargate is not all that great against this build that BYUN has opted to go for. So a couple Marines will get taken on down, but that's going to be a dead oracle. No, Classic is going to survive. And folks, if you remember what it was like, what it used to be like, Classic was known for his oracle control. Stargate control in general back in the day. As the oracles will dive on in once again. We will see the factory get delayed right as it's just about to complete. But now BYUN moving it on the map here with his stim, with his combat shields, looking to put pressure on this third base, which by the way is much later than a standard third base. Classic went for an earlier natural, later third. But I don't think this is going to get too much done. Maybe BYUN can stim down an oracle, but no, Classic's going to be able to stay on the high ground, on the low ground, keep dead airspace between the oracles and the army. So BYUN, he's not going to get much done with this. I mean, he's just going to look to develop. +1 is underway, and he is going to be able to start to just keep developing his army. I do like this when you're like, okay, well, my opponent knows what I'm doing. It's fine. He's just built up a big army. Okay, whatever. I'm just not going to commit to this too hard. I'm going to keep these Marines on the map. Maybe have an opportunity to do something. But behind that, I'm immediately going to transition. I'm immediately going to develop my tech one step further. I'm immediately going to develop my production one step further. So I can just take advantage of this early production and just build a massive army supply lead that allows me to push in later on. Again, though, this is Romanticide. And pushing into Romanticide, not the easiest thing. Now we have the push in earnest happening on in here. So big army from BYUN on the left-hand side. Actually, just big drop on the left-hand side, as a couple Marauders are not going to be part of that. So drop here onto the left-hand side where there is nothing, actually, and no defense just yet. So the army is going to look to move on out. That means the Marines on the right-hand side that have been waiting this entire game to get something done are going to stim on into the third base. So StarCraft looking to play on top of these medevacs. One goes down. Second one will survive, but the bio has been marooned, as of course we do have this bio stimming on into the third base. 6 workers go down, and here's the thing, static defense goes down as well. BYUN, he's just going to target the third base down, and folks, this is an easy thing. He's going to get the oracles, he's going to get the base, and he's just going to be able to run on out. BYUN multi-pronging classic to death in this game. We said, well, it's Romanticide, it's hard to attack and do. Well, that may be true, but if you're beyond the rules of man, the rules of logic, the rules of StarCraft do not apply to you. And you can find damage where maybe there should be none. Did he lose both medevacs? Okay, he did lose both medevacs. Looks like he tried to bring the second one in to keep things alive. So that may be a problem, as though. There we go. What am I going to get another stock for free? But he's on 4 medevacs now. He's going to get up to 6 rather soon. He's on 3 vacs. He will have 5. His third base is mining. And let me tell you the tragedy of a Terran player that has a base up on a Protoss player. That just does not feel good, because mules are a powerful thing indeed. Even as Classic does have more workers, he's forced a long distance mine with them. And he's banking a lot of money here too. How many gateways does he have? On 8 gates, he should be able to spend a lot of this. And there we go, a bunch of zealots get warped on in. And Classic is adding Colossus in this game, but I worry that it's too little too late. I think Disruptors would have been much more of the play. Double Colossus is a thing, sure, but this army from BYUN, it's up 30 armies. It's up like 22 army supplies. It's going to look to stim on in. That being said, I mean, Stasis Trap. Oh, okay. It's going to get a lot of Widow Mines, but that's just going to be about it. And now this army here, well, it's stuck behind a bunch of force fields, but, well, force fields only do so much. Now it's going to get on top of all these robos here. Can he just target them down before anything really pops out? He does have to unload that last medevac. There we go. One robo's getting targeted on down. Second one is getting targeted on down as well. No Colossus out on the map here for BYUN, and this is the damage that he says, okay, folks, bye-bye now. You don't have the army that can beat me anymore. Widow Mines are going to burrow on up, and it is just Charge Lot Stalker here. With the lack of Colossus, well, that's that. I mean, that's just not a good thing. Meanwhile, it looks like Zealot's looking to run on in. 0 damage from Classic. It's distracting to BYUN. That's about it. And again, pole position. The army of Classic's going to look to move out of the map, try to find something, but it's just not going to work. This is a 1-1 Terran player versus a 0-0 or 1-0 Protoss player, and yeah, +2 is on the way. So BYUN, his armory is laid. His 2-2 is not going to be before +2 of Classic. But still, he's got a big army. He has done a fantastic job of denying economy, denying tech, and it has bought him so much time to play with this just pure ground, or this pure bio army, right? No ghosts, no Vikings, nothing like that. But okay, now we're going to start to see some economic damage here. The Zealots do find their way on into War Prism. Will we find its way on out? But BYUN, again, aggressive on the map here. He is not as far up in army supply as he once was. What I will say is kind of fun seeing Classic get back, because, man, Classic has the best eyes for observers like anyone in the game. So it's really interesting to see, you know, again, different player strengths and weaknesses. BYUN, fantastic micro. Please save that bio. There we go. They will, even with the very low medevac. And I'm not sure I would have chosen that medevac to go take the bio up on the other side of the force field, but, you know, it's fine. Now, we do finally have Colossus out. They do have extended thermal lance, and this will necessitate an army compositional change here from BYUN. I think even as he has up 30 army supply. And, okay, he has a couple Vikings. Only 2. I want to see him go up to like 6, I think, with only 2 Colossus on the map right now. And that's going to be that. BYUN should be forced back for the time being, but as I say that, we got a big flank coming on in here. BYUN looking to take the fight. The Colossus are firing strong, of course, but this army on the right-hand side is carrying the day. The Stalkers are going to start to go on down. BYUN, he's just got too much oomph here in this army, so one Colossus will get target fired on down. Disruptor shots, they're not going to get what they need, and the Stalkers, they're going to be able to target fire things down. One Colossus does go down on the last Viking shot, the last Stalker shot. And that is BYUN equalizing the tech, but he lost a lot here. That army supply lead, it's not there anymore. There we go. So second Stargate, we have a fourth base underway. Ghost Academy is now done. We have enhanced shockwaves as well. But this army, this fight that BYUN wants to take, well, he's going to have to wait a little bit. He's going to have to retool. He's going to have to build a higher tech army. Because that last fight for him, it equalized a whole hell of a lot. Looks like a Widowmine ran on in and said, hey, I'll get 2 workers. I mean, 2 workers at this point in the game, not the biggest of deals, but it's something. Now, BYUN's actually the one that has to kind of turtle up, defend, make sure that he does not die, because, I mean, this army from Classic is rather strong indeed. He's down 2 upgrades, which does make a big difference, but lots of disruptor shots coming in. It looks like 6 in this army. Yeah, 6 disruptors in this army. This sensor tower is going to get canceled. But I love what BYUN's doing here. He says, look, okay, no Colossus on the map. Nothing that can really zone out Liberators, so I'm just building 4 Liberators at a time. I kind of want to see a Fusion Core. He should have the money for it off of 4 bases. And if that's the case, I mean, well, suddenly this army will not fight whatsoever. Now, the Vikings are going to be able to get and target down this Warp Prism. One more shot. Okay, actually, the Stalkers will be able to target those Vikings down. But the Liberators are just about to hit the field. BYUN, he's in a nice flank as we have a lot of Zealots looking to run on in. But there is Bio here in this mineral line, so not a lot dying. Even as a couple SCVs getting targeted and fired on down. But the rally is enough. That is totally fine as we got drops coming on in. EMPs on top of the majority of this army. It looks like 5 SCVs die on the other side of them, or on BYUN's third base. But again, with the Disruptors, you can't really take that fight. It's hard for BYUN to. But now we have 4 Liberators on the field, going up to 6. We're gonna hit that. We're gonna start to hit that point where the Liberators really cannot make it very difficult for the Protoss player to take the fight. So Liberators here sieging up on the high ground. I'm a little bit worried about this base that BYUN has left pretty empty. Bio actually is going to be able to stim on top of these disruptor shots. One goes down, second goes down, third one goes down as well. The shots are just not landing here. The 4th base does die, but BYUN, he's instigated a base trade of his own. Robo's getting target fired on down. Base is going to go down as well here. So it's got to be 3 bases to 3. But a lot of the tech for the Protoss player has died over the course of this game, and he's going to be able to get another base. He's going to be able to get the Robo Bay, that's for sure. No more disruptors on the map. The Liberators, they're firing strong, but there's not enough on the ground to make sure that they don't die. Classic, it feels like he's got a little bit better of a position. I mean, remember, he can always recall into his main, and Disruptors say, well, good luck to that, but okay. The Bio army has been split up just a little bit. Bases are starting to go on down here. BYUN will knock down the Natural. He will knock down the 4th base. He's already killed the 3rd. He's killed the Robos as well. And now we have the structures here from BYUN. They're starting to run away. He needs to pull off some SCVs. They need to find their way onto the other side of the map. That's always going to be a problem. But certainly BYUN has not been supply blocked yet. He can't really build anything, and he will have +3 armor. I think where's +3 attack? Yeah, they're not really being target fired down yet. Oh, it looks like BYUN has already lost 1. Oh yeah, we're just gonna look at this. BYUN has already lost 1 command center, so he does have 2 remaining. He should be able to get on out. Dark Shrine, where is that? Dark Shrine does need to get target fired on down. BYUN needs to find that. I don't believe he's seen it just yet. Oh no, he has. Okay, but he does need to kill that one off. Of course, DTs are the great equalizer in base trades. That's always a fun thing. BYUN's down 20 army supply, but there's not okay, so there is that nexus going on down. We will see. Oh, actually, this is a big problem. 2 command centers are dead. Only 1 remains, and if the Dark Shrine, if any DTs get warped on in, it's not really going to matter, of course, because I don't believe we have any DTs on the field. No, we don't. And Classic is so just heinously supply blocked that he's never going to get some Dark Templar out in time. And now, well, it's down to this gateway, or the Cybercore, this pylon, this Nexus, because everything else on the other side of the map, I guess this extractor as well, everything else on the other side of the map is going to get taken on down. Meanwhile, this orbital is still alive, and I mean, not as important as it once was. And extractors are going to start to fall here. Now, BYUN has to find this base that Classic has been able to rebuild, and A, he's got to find a way to find it, B, he's got to find a way to kill it. And that is not the easiest thing to do. At the very least, he's going to be able to remove, I mean, this extractor, I believe BYUN knows where. Yeah, seriously, he knows about that. He does not know about, actually, that's a probe, not a pylon. On the bottom side, BYUN has been able to get a little bit more mining, but he's going to be able to force the lift, run away. And of course, the big deal is he has production. He's able to build more Marines. He's not supply blocked yet, which is going to be very nice indeed. He's going to be able to take his own base here on the upper right side. So that's something. And the other thing to mention is he's still up 2 upgrades, right? 3-3 was able to complete. Oh, look at this. Actually, he's going to find a decent portion of this army outside of the disruptor shots. So a couple of the zealots will go on down. Disruptors, I mean, they are the great equalizer here. If BYUN kills the disruptors, he wins the game. If he doesn't get the disruptors, he loses the game. Or if the disruptor shots get massive shots on him, that is kind of the deal there. So the last disruptor shot, I think, is only going to get 2 Marines, which is fine. BYUN has the production for that one. He has the income for that. So he's going to stim on onto the high ground here, try to get down what he can. But do we have any shield batteries? We do. Makes this engagement not the easiest, but these EMPs on top of everything means this army from BYUN is fantastic. And you know what? Look, he's got a lot of medevac. He's pretty much every unit has a personal healer. That means that it's going to be, well, difficult to say the least. He's going to find these zealots on the right-hand side as well. Nice concave on the high ground. Disruptor shots are not going to, they're going to get a little, but not much. And BYUN, if he can get through these, honestly, I want to see him just drop some mules. Get through these rocks. Open that up, but no, you don't want to do that one, BYUN. No drops there. I should be able to get some damage on the, I think there's range on the low ground. BYUN is now supply blocked as well. Yeah, so equal army supply. He's down a couple workers. But okay, so he's going to be able to stim on in, target fire this. Oh, nice EMP there. No, not really. Well, actually, he's going to lose a ghost. But now he's going to get on top of the, he's getting on top of the disruptors. 1 goes down, 2 goes down, 3 goes down. And this is where things start to be a problem here. Army supply is somewhat equal. Shield battery overcharge is a thing. That's something here. Disruptors are going to miss in their entirety. BYUN just micros his way out. But whether he has enough army, that remains despite everything. That's the question. Shield batteries are doing a good job of keeping things alive. Army supplies are equal, but the army on the ground is not. BYUN's just running out of units that actually fight because so much of this army supply is medevacs. Can he do the micro? Can he do what he needs to do? The answer is no. It's one Marauder that remains. 0 Marauders remain. And it's just a bunch of medevacs. That's all that it is. BYUN, he's out of money. He's out of army. And now Classic can run across the map here with all of these stalkers. But I mean, he's building more. He has 1 Marauder on the field. He will have 4. And I bet against a bunch of stalkers, maybe that's going to be enough with stim, with personal healing. Maybe that's going to be what he needs. So he's going to drop on in Marines, Marauders. The stim is going to happen, but I just don't think it's enough. Yeah, GG. What a game there. Classic takes game 2. And you know what? Well, we played a long game. We played a hectic game. So Classic says, I don't know if I want to do that. I'm just going to go and be aggressive here in this game as BYUN going for Marine first, of course. And this is a Max Packs variant. It's not the Max Packs, right? That Max Packs is, well, there would be a gateway right here. And you just kind of, run across the map and do whatever. This one is a bit more interesting. You get, of course, the gate at home, gate abroad. You get a little more, it's a little more stalkers debt pressure than it is zealot pressure. And we're just going to have to see how well it works out for Classic in this game. Is waiting for the Cybercore to finish. There we go. So it's going to be stalkers from the, well, Adept here in the main base because it runs across the map faster. Stalkers on the other side. And you cause problems, but BYUN is aware that there is no natural, and he's aware that there is double gas here, so he's building his command center on the high ground. And that's a great move from him, and there we go, bunker as well. This really should not work out all that well for Classic. It just BYUN knows what's up. He doesn't know exactly what's up, but he has a good idea of the general idea of what this build is. I mean, it could be proxy voids, could be, you know, a proxy gateway on the map, and it will be the proxy gateway. So BYUN, I mean, with the bunker, he's totally fine against this. Hey, Sprawl, thank you so much for that subscription. And of course, every contributions via subscriptions, via Patreon, via Matcherino, go to support either the event that we're running or the organization in general that allows us to put on more events and do things like that. So thank you so much. And you get a bunch of awesome emotes. Actually, Alpha X is some of my favorite emotes that exist on Twitch. I'm a really big fan of the blob dancing one. But anyway, so we will have the Stalkers, the Zealots going to look to, or excuse me, the Adepts going to look to move on in. But I mean, there are 5 Marines, there's a bunker, 4 Marines now. I can't afford to lose more than that, but certainly as long as you have a full bunker, you're fine. I noticed Classic here just using the shade to try to knock down the supply depot, but with the... that was weird. I'm not sure why that moved like that. With the timing here... Okay, interesting. We don't have a mass repair on that, and actually that should allow Classic to move on in, but I don't think he's going to. Oh, and he's going to Phoenix behind. It's very interesting. Really cool variant of this build. I don't believe Classic had the opportunity to practice StarCraft in the military. BYUN was lucky in that I believe he was military police. He could go home every night, and he couldn't compete in the, for StarCraft, but he could go play StarCraft every night after his day working in the military. So he did that. Classic has just been practicing for about 8 weeks now, and I mean, he looks rather good. But now Classic getting aggressive here. A lot of Marines active on the map, and this is going to be a rather big problem indeed. The Phoenix active as well. Classic, he doesn't have a third base, but what he does have is a warp in position on the map here. Stalkers are going to look to move on in, and that means that this tank is dead, the medevac is dead, and folks, this is just a little bit of a slobber knocker here. The Stalkers, they're dying, everything is dying, and yeah, Marines can rally, but this natural is going to get broken, and we of course have more Stalkers warping on in. One Phoenix did die, and that's annoying, but Classic has broken the natural here of BYUN. Classic is mining out of his natural just fine. More and more Phoenix finding their way on in. And I don't think this is going to be able to kill. This should not kill the base here of BYUN, but certainly it's going to be annoying. It's going to force maybe a repair. It's going to, and with the Phoenix in the sky, I mean, Classic should be able to find his way on into the high ground. There is only actually 0 tanks on the map. Now it's going to be 1, but the Phoenix are going to be able to lift that one on up if Classic decides to break that. But I think it's going to be pretty happy just to contain BYUN on one basis. Okay, dude. You want to take this fight? That's fine. I'm going to take a third. You're going to be stuck in your main base. How about them apples? Really, really not good apples. Those are mushy apples that have sat out for a while, and a worm has found its way out through them. Okay, so now the Stark's looking to move on in. One tank gets lifted, gets target fired down. The second one is dead as well. The army of BYUN, it's just a bunch of Marines, and you know what Marines don't really beat Stalkers. So again, BYUN, he tries to take this natural, and with the Phoenix, they keep rallying on it, and we're actually, I think there's enough damage in this army now that this command center is going to start to burn. There we go. It's just going to start to burn. Will necessitate that repair, and that means the army of BYUN is going to be forced on the low ground. And once again, BYUN, he tried to take the low ground. He did not succeed. Yeah, BYUN won the GSL back in 2016, I think. He also won the World Championship back when Reapers were stupid broken. All right, so once again, BYUN's going to try to take the natural. I think maybe this time it's getting a little bit too much to break. Too many Marines, too many tanks. So we should be done with that, but Charge is just about halfway done. More and more Phoenix are underway, and we got a bunch of gateways coming on down as well. So I'm like, yeah, BYUN's going to get his natural, but I think we're just see Classic moving on to the next step of his tech. Look at this. He's just killing off Marines. This says, I'm not worried about tanks. I'm going to have charge. I just need to make sure that there's not going to be too much of a meat shield for those tanks. This charge should finish rather soon. All those gateways are done. And yeah, we're going to see a bunch of zealots get warped on in. The gateways, of course, turning into warp gates. And Classic getting close to being supply block, but adding those additional... Oh, no, this is not what BYUN wants to do. A bunch of zealots warping on in. We should see lifts on top of these tanks immediately. Actually, it's just going to be a bunch of Marines. Does not matter. The tanks are going to get lifted here. Zealots getting on top of them. And, folks, Classic is bippity-bappity-boppeting BYUN out of this game. Game 2, Game 3, excuse me, goes to the Chin Toss. In the upper right, in the blue, down one game in this series, but not out. Certainly not that. He is, for the Shopify Rebellion, BYUN. And in the bottom left, in the red here. He's up 2-1 in this series, looking damn impressive. 8 weeks back from coming back from the military, pretty much. He is, for Alpha X, Classic. Okay, so, BYUN does not suck. That is not true. He was maybe not GSL caliber, but he's still certainly very good. And he's still capable of winning tournaments. You know, the issue is, honestly, it's the GSL studio. And for whatever reason, the pressure he puts on himself with his wrist problems mean that it feels like he's probably just cramping, or like just so much tension in his wrist that they start breaking and he just can't do it. I mean, he gets himself in these great positions, winners matches of GSL, then his wrists die and he can't go on. That's not a measure of skill. That's a measure of, like, physical impairment. But really, it feels like Classic may have figured out BYUN here in this series. So he started just really consistently opening up Stargate tech. I really like more the games that open up Stargate Phoenix instead of Stargate Oracle. Oracles don't get a lot done ever, it really feels like. It's not the most useful of units. I mean, again, it takes 3 Oracle ticks to kill an SCV. They're, they don't have the light tag anymore, but that doesn't really make that much of a difference. Actually, if anything, it means they're more susceptible to cyclones in some games. But they just don't kill things all that fast, and they don't do a lot to keep you safe. But you get up to 5 Phoenix, any sort of tank push is just not going to work. Any sort of Hellion drop is just not going to work. So yeah, Classic is opening up with Phoenix in this game, and I am a big fan of that. The other interesting thing, of course, is he's taken his third base as his natural, and that's always rather interesting. I didn't see whether BYUN attempted to block it, as I'm just like, oh yeah, it's PvZ, it's fine, this is normal. This is not normal in any way, shape, or form, and that's not even normal in PvZ, so don't know what I'm thinking. But now we have Hellions. They're going to look to run across the map here. 4 Hellions before the starport's rather interesting. And 4 Hellions, of course, they one-tap probe, so 3 workers do go down immediately, but now we do have Phoenix, and they should be able to keep things alive. Although BYUN is Classic's just accepting this damage, and that's not all that great. But now the workers are going to start to go on down, or the Hellions are going to start to go on down here. But 8 workers died for pretty much free. Yeah, 8 workers is kind of that magic number you're looking for if it is Hellion drop, but it's not Hellion drops. In fact, it is Widow Mine drops here. BYUN just really committing to his aggression in this game. He's going to have 4 Widow Mines. These Phoenix have to be very careful, and Widow Mines will get scattered on out. They're going to go into the other side. Oh, they will be able to escape. Nice job. Is that guy in the chat? Oh, wait, anyway, Widowmine drops coming on in. This is not going to get anything, though. This is the benefit of going Phoenix like this. The Widowmines don't do anything. Theoretically, the Hellions shouldn't have gotten anything either, but, you know, Classic was a little bit sloppy, but it's fine because you know what? He got 4 workers as well. And now he's up 8 workers. He's in a great spot. He's going to be able to get his 3rd base. Rather late 3rd base, but he's going to be able to get into Colossus Tech, Disruptor Tech, whatever he wants to do. And because he owns the skies here, well, drops are not really going to be a viability for BYUN in the near future, even in the mid future. And also the big deal, of course, is the fact that there are not a lot of Widowmines anymore, so the Phoenix can be a lot more aggressive as they're going to look to dive on in. We don't have really any sort of anti-air. Just keeping things alive. So the mineral line is going to start to go on down. Actually, I'm sorry, there was 1 Widowmine, and that's going to do something. So 1 Phoenix died, another one took a lot of damage. But still, 4 more workers do go down. Classic is really starting to build that economic lead that he is looking for. 3rd base underway, of course. As Classic says, okay, I do want to stay at 5th. 6 Phoenix. Recall coming on in for the landed Viking means 2 workers do go down, but that's going to be just about it. Classic really just on top of this game. Despite losing those workers early on, he's in a really good position. All right, so this is interesting. Classic. I mean, I guess he went Colossus in the Romanticide game, but really that felt like he was more forced into it than an active decision. But no, he's going Phoenix Colossus in this game, going up to 6 Phoenix once again. So did he lose? Yeah, he only lost the 1. I thought he was up at 6 Phoenix earlier, but going into 6 Phoenix and, you know, Phoenix Colossus, all that fun stuff, owning the air and making it so that he's just going to be able to dominate the ground too with all of that Colossus play. And BYUN feels like he's just kind of throwing units away at this point, and he doesn't have a 3rd base. He's only on, well, okay, so this is 5 racks. He's just going all in this game. Looking up to time it up with +1, with combat shields, with probably concussive shells. Just this big army that he wants to run across the map with and kill off, as he should be able to get that observer as well. But I mean, Classic, he is pretty solidly on 3 base now. He's got a lot of Phoenix. He has 2 Colossus. He's going to have a 3rd Colossus if he wants to extend thermal lance and +1 as well. This build that BYUN has opted to go for, it feels like it's just kind of DOA. That being said, that's a lot of Widowmines and will make it rather difficult for the Phoenix to get much done. But the thing you can do, of course, with Phoenix is the fact that you can go and you just drag the Widowmines on top of the army, and suddenly it's like a storm. Did a bunch of friendly fire. So that is always something that's a little bit scary. And then BYUN looking to move out on the map here. His 3rd base, okay, so it's not 100% all in. He is building a 3rd base, but he's building a 3rd base at 8 minutes. He really needs to get a lot of damage done here. And I mean, +1 extend thermal lance is done. This is not, I mean, the time of the Widowmines are pretty much done. We don't really have detection, and that's a problem, but I mean, there's the detection. There we go. So that will get lifted on up. And we have a drop coming in on the left-hand side here. The army on the right hand side, we got a drop coming on into the natural as well. BYUN just looking to do that thing that won him game number 1 and put him in a fantastic position game number 2. He says, look, I'm just going to attack everywhere and I'm going to make your life miserable. But Classic, he's just adapted this. He says, okay, I know the type of game you're trying to play. I'm going to go Phoenix and it's going to be fine. So we're going to have Bio look to stim on in. And you know, charge is not done, so these zealots are not all that useful. We do have this drop in the main base. It's getting 8 workers, right? This is starting to find some value, but it's expensive as hell here for BYUN. He's losing so many medevacs. He's losing so much bio. These Marauders, I mean, they don't have concussive shells yet. No, they do. Okay, so they're able to kite us out a little bit better. But BYUN now down below 100 supply. Classic on 3 bases. He's down a couple workers, but again, 3 bases makes up for that. He's able to build them 3 at a time. And the army supply, I mean, Classic is up just about 30 army supply, so he should be able to get active on the map. Now we have Classic here. He's actually going up to a 4th Colossus. Generally, you stop at 3, even with this Phoenix Colossus style. But interesting to see that he's adding on to the 4th. It makes sense considering what BYUN has in this game. We don't have any Vikings. In fact, he's still on medevac or Widowmine tech. No tanks as well. That means this army that Classics is building, I'm getting a bit worried for BYUN here in this game. He's going to try to take the engagement to the Phoenix. They're going to just lift up everything here. And yeah, the Zealot flank charge is not done, but it looks like it does not matter because a charge is going to finish up as this engage does complete the last of the Phoenix. They're going to pick up the last of these Widow Mines here. And BYUN, he is at death's doorstep. He's getting broken. The third base now is going to come under fire as more and more Zealots, more and more Stalkers are going to find their way on in. BYUN getting ready for a last-ditch effort here, trying to make sure that he makes some sort of comeback in this series. But of course, now with these 4 Colossus on net, well, only 3 with this army, these Widow Mines are getting target fired down immediately. They're not getting their shots off. And Classic, he's just piling on in. The third base has been lifted. In fact, part of our Classic's army is well, it's worried about that one as the SCVs are going to get bold. BYUN, he's trying to make the hold happen, but the SCVs, the Colossus, they're not firing against them. They are firing against the army, and it is done. It is dead. GG. Classic is going to take the series. He's going to move on to face BYUN in the finals.